Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother Canada updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Louis Balancio. I am so embarrassed that I don't know how to say your last name because you've been watching us literally forever. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon. Again, I'm sorry that I suck. But we really love you, Louis, for real. So if you guys want to be house guest of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Okay, so we have so much to talk about. I'm not even kidding. So quick review. Last night, Christine was evicted by a vote of 6-5, or as Arissa says, 5-6. And the show ended with the HOH competition in progress. So I've got some results for you. When the feeds came back last night, we found out that Joel and Mitch won the competition, and they decided that Joel would be the HOH this week. Interesting, because I didn't think Joel or Mitch wanted to be HOH, either of them, because they've definitely been in the middle so far, so interesting. Also, it sounds like Dallas and Jared were very close behind them. Wouldn't that have been crazy? Because Dallas and Jared are like, bleh. So how would they decide who the HOH would be when I feel like they would both go after each other? That's so crazy. That would have been really crazy. But now what is Joel gonna do? Like I said, he's been playing the middle, so is he gonna, like, make a big move, or is he gonna not? It'll be interesting. I think it's gonna be a very interesting week. So, Maddie and Levita were chatting in the pink bedroom, and Maddie was like, yeah, Levita, I just want to let you know, a lot of people around the house are saying that you're, like, using Joel, and it's not cool, and nobody likes it. So Levita's just like, what? So, we'll get to that more in a little bit. But Maddie says that she's also pooing in her pants right now because she's worried that Joel is going to nominate her and, like, some combination of Dallas and Ramsey. So she's freaking out about that, and Levita's like, yo, chill. I'm really close with Joel. Just go ahead and talk to him. Reassure him that he's never been your target, and we'll work things out. So very confident there. So Levita goes and chats with Joel in the HOH room. She's like, Joel, I'm happy for you. I'm excited. And she apologizes for how she freaked out before the vote. I don't know if you remember, but I talked about it yesterday when she was like, Joel, freaking Cassandra is going to come after me if she wins HOH, so you need to get rid of her. Like, I would do this for you. I can't believe you're not going to do this for me. So, I mean, it was like putting him in a really awkward position, putting a lot of pressure on him. So she apologized for it, and he's like, it's cool. I understand. And Joel lets her know, like, you're safe this week. Don't worry. So then we find out a little bit more about his plans. He wants to make what he kept referring to as a dent this week. So it sounds like he doesn't really want to make, like, a huge move from the term dent. I mean, I wouldn't use the term dent if I was going after a huge player, so that's just what I'm thinking. But he was also saying, like, he is thinking about maybe doing a backdoor plan, maybe using Tim as a pawn because he feels like Tim would be cool with it. And Levita's like, okay. But she's not too sure about the backdoor plan. Her logic there is like, well, if you backdoor someone, then you're going to have 2 other people that you nominated still in the house next week, so you may as well go right for it and just have 1 nominee in the house next week. So, I don't know. It's interesting. A lot to think about. So the house guests celebrated Phil's birthday yesterday, and they were a little bit disappointed, or a lot disappointed, that Big Brother did not give them any alcohol to aid in their celebration. But Nikki did bake Phil a cake in the shape of a pea. And I just have to say, it looked a bit like a pea. But they also had the special candles that have, like, the different colored flames, and who doesn't love those? So they had a good time with that. Only thing, Mitch was in the diary room during the celebration, so he missed out, but he was like, it's cool, don't wait for me. And you know who else missed out? Cassandra and Levita, because they were freaking arguing in the pink room the whole time. Guys, we were this close to having, like, a happy birthday, dear Keisha. Happy birthday to you. Anybody want cake? We were so close, but it didn't happen. Oh, it would have been amazing. But anyway, Cass and Levita were arguing, and this crap went on for more than an hour. Cass was like, Levita, I really want you to stop being so condescending to me. You're sitting across the table from me making faces, and it's ridiculous. And Levita's like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't know what you're saying that, blah, blah, blah. And Cass is like, this is so high school. I'm so over it. And Levita's like, well, I don't even know how to talk to you because I feel like it's always, like, awkward and you're, like, all sassy and whatever. So, I mean, it's the same thing going around and around in circles, like I said, for more than an hour. So there were times where it got really tense. There was yelling, personal attacks. Cass called Levita kidnapper, referring to when she took Marinara the spider away. And I thought that was Tim's spider. But Cass kept saying, you took my spider. Isn't that Tim's spider? I don't know. But then Levita called Cass airtime. I have to agree with her, though. Like, Cassandra's just like, she's definitely looking for that airtime. So it was just pretty funny. But anyway, things were not really resolved even after an hour. So I think there's still a lot of tension there. It's just not a good situation. So let's talk about Joel. Everyone wants to talk about Joel. I mean, talk to Joel again. It's just like before the vote, when he was looking like a swing vote and everybody wanted a piece of that. And now he's the HOH, so they want another piece of that. Encore. So first up, we've got Ramsey talking to Joel. And Joel's just like, you know what? You're safe this week. We're cool. So Ramsey's like, awesome, man. So then he warns him, you need to look out for Cassandra. She's playing all sides. It's bad news. So he's still very much in the whole let's get rid of Cassandra camp. He doesn't like her. He doesn't trust her. So then it's Maddie's turn to talk to Joel. And I feel like this is like the first and last time we will see this happen unless Joel wins HOH again. So she's like, I just want you to know that you've never been my target. Not only her target, but also Dallas or Ramsey's target. She's looking out for them too. So she lets Joel know, like, the three of us, we're going after the other trio. Jared, Kelsey, and Raul. So she's letting Joel know, like, I understand if you nominate me. It's totally fine. Well, it's not fine, but, like, she understands it. But she does want to be around to make the big moves. She wants to take out the trio. All right, so let's take a break from Joel for just a minute. Don't worry, there will be plenty more Joel. Phil freaked out on Nick again last night. I cannot believe how ugly it gets between these two. Maybe it's just because I'm not, like, a guy with a brother. You know what I mean? Like, I have a brother, but I feel like the dynamic between two brothers is so different. So it gets really bad. But anyway, he's like, you need to stay away from Maddie. He calls her the C word, like count without the O. I just call it countess, so if I say countess, that's what I mean. And he's like, you need to stop effing this up for us. Woo! It got heated. And you know that they mean business when they call each other Philip and Nicholas instead of Phil and Nick. Like, that's bad. So that happened. Hi! So then, let's get back to Joel. Dallas and Levita were chatting with him in the HOH room, and Dallas is like, you're not on my radar, and I really hope that you're not going to do other people's dirty work this week. Like, I know I'm a big target for a lot of people, but you don't have to do what other people want you to do. You just do you, bro. Which is great. But then, like, 2 seconds later, he's like, but if you want to consider going after Jared, Raul, and Kelsey and their friends, like, that's totally fine. So he's basically saying, don't do other people's dirty work unless it's mine. So I just gotta say, like, Dallas is a real bulldozer. I feel like he went in there and he was just like, blah, 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 I want to work with you, blah, 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 do what you want. And the whole time, Joel was just like, yeah, right, yeah, sounds good. So, I mean, he couldn't even talk. Dallas was just, like, going a mile a minute. So, or 100 miles a minute. So Dallas leaves, and Levita's like, let me give you some tips for being a good HOH. I wouldn't want tips from Levita, but whatever. So she does let him know a good piece of advice. Do not reveal who your target is to everyone. Duh. So then, Joel gives us a little more insight into what he's thinking. He's thinking, you know, I gotta nominate 2 people from one side. It's just not a good move right now to do one person from each side, because then you're pissing off both sides, and it's not good. Alright, so this is the point in the show where Joel turns into the Bachelor. And I say that because everybody comes up to the HOH room and they're like, hey, you mind if I steal him for a minute? And it's so ridiculous. And instead of being like, tell me about yourself, it's like, so what are you thinking? Like, what are you gonna do? Who are you gonna nominate this week? It's just like The Bachelor, but different. So Jared has his turn with Joel, and he's like, Joel, I just want to let you know, like, don't let Levita manipulate you. I saw the way that she talked to you last week, and it wasn't cool. So just do what you want to do. He must have said a million times, just do what's best for your game. He didn't really offer any clues as to like who should go up on the block. He was just like, just do what you want to do. So then it was Mitch's turn, and he's like, he gives good advice. He's like, keep an eye on who's treating you differently now that you're the HOH. Good thinking, Mitch. But Joel brings up a concern, like, do we really need to win this HOH? Yeah, I think Joel might be having a little bit of like winner's remorse now that he's realizing, like, whoa, I gotta, like, make some moves here. So Mitch is like, yeah, we probably didn't have to win this, but better safe than sorry, or sorry. So then it was Cassandra's turn. She kind of throws Levita under the bus. She's like, we just came off of a dictatorship and finally got a free country again. She actually said that. And then she was like, do what you want. All right. So then Phil and Nick, the brothers, were up there for like 2 seconds before Raul came in and was like, yeah, can I talk to you for a minute without you? So the bros were kicked out. Kelsey joined in, and they were basically just like, we don't want to go. We value you in the game. And that was pretty much, you know, what that was all about. Raul, I swear to God, he was just like, yeah, I don't want to go up on the block. Like, what else do I say? Are you playing this game, man? I don't think so. So eventually Mitch and Joel were alone again, and I feel like one of the only times we really find out what Joel is thinking is when he's talking to Mitch, because he definitely seems to be the closest with Mitch. So they both talk about how they're suspicious of Tim. They haven't really figured him out at this point. And Joel is really considering using him as a pawn. He's not talking about Tim really as a target, but more of a pawn. But that makes me nervous because I feel like Tim is such a huge target. And if he's up on the block, it's going to be really easy to just be like, hey, let's get rid of Tim. So then Joel was also talking about potentially splitting up Maddie and Dallas this week. He doesn't really have much of a relationship with them, and it wouldn't really rock the boat too much, he doesn't think. So it's a possibility. So then Joel was talking to Tim and Cassandra. Tim gets his chance to explain his wonky vote last week, and he's like, I mean, I know this is a game, but you also have to remember the fans. He wants to make it fun and interesting for everyone watching. Thank you. We appreciate that. But then he was like, I was totally prepared to take the fall for you, Joel, because he was trying to say that, like, Christine was expecting either Tim or Joel to vote for her this week, so Tim wanted to be that person so that Joel wouldn't have to do it. I don't know. It sort of made sense, but sort of didn't. But Tim did say, like, I'm not going to do it again, and I definitely wouldn't do it if I knew that it was going to mess things up. Like, he knew that Cassandra was going to stay this week, so I guess that's why he did that. But anyway, let's talk about this morning. They picked they picked teams for the have-not competition. They had 2 teams. The first one, I think it caused a lot of drama, too, because it seemed like it was some sort of schoolyard pick, and there was tension. So the first team was Jared, Kelsey, Raul, Mitch, Tim, and Cassandra. And the second team was Dallas, Maddie, Ramsey, Levita, Nikki, Phil/Nick. So, I mean, I see some definite lines there. Not 100% lines, but, I mean, there's definitely stuff forming even within those teams. So, we'll come back to the have-not competition. But Joel is talking about his nominations again with Levita, and now he's saying he's leaning more towards putting up Raul and Kelsey, with Raul being the target. And at first I'm thinking, like, that's really weak. What are you doing? Like, if you're going to go after the trio, you're really going to target Raul? But he explained it to her. He wants to chip away at the trio, but at the same time, it won't ruffle as many feathers if he goes after Raul, and he would still be leaving a huge meat shield target in the house in the showmance of Jared and Kelsey. I mean, I see what he's saying, but at the same time, like, you're gonna go after Raul when you could go after Jared or Kelsey? Oh. Alright, so it's interesting, though, that he switched from saying Dallas and Maddie to the trio. So then Dallas, Ramsey, Maddie, and Levita were chatting, and Dallas is like, Ramsey, I've caught you a few times now recently talking to Jared. It's sketchy, and I don't like it. What's that all about? So Ramsey's like, dude, I sleep in the same room with them. I can't just not talk to them. So he's telling Dallas, don't be paranoid. We're good. It's fine. So Dallas is like, okay, cool. But apparently Dallas really drew some lines this morning. I guess he, like, called out Jared to his face in front of a bunch of people and was basically like, I'm coming after you. So, yeah, it's getting really intense. So then Joel and Mitch were chatting again about nominations. And like I said earlier, when he was talking to Levita, he's leaning more towards taking out someone from Jared's group now. So his dilemma now is will he put up 2 of them or 1 of them and a pawn? He does not want a backdoor because he doesn't want to cause any unnecessary drama. So is it going to be like Raul and Tim, or is it going to be Raul and Kelsey? He's not sure yet, but he's still got a little bit of time to think about that. They had the have-not competition today. The feeds were down forever. And guess what? Jared's team lost, which means they are the have-nots for the week. So that is Jared, Kelsey, Raul, Mitch, Tim, and Cassandra. But apparently Mitch and Cassandra are not have-nots. I don't know how that worked out, but hopefully we'll have more information on that tomorrow. But, okay, so the feeds came back, like, right before we were filming this, and I'm telling you right now that have-not competition was a shitstorm. Like, they were all fighting, and, like, I'm serious. Like, they were fighting during the competition. It got really ugly. I'm going to talk about that more tomorrow. It sounds insane. But also, we'll have the nominations for you. Hopefully the power of veto tomorrow. So there's a lot going on, and it's really, really tense in the house right now. It's crazy. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Who should Joel nominate? And until tomorrow, much love.
Edit.